Hello, this is Rabbi Sammy Bergman of Beit Midrash Sefer Dov. This is the third video in a series of 6 videos which all discuss Jewish responses to destruction. Today I'd like to study the response of Rabbi Yehoshua and what are referred to in the Talmud as Prushim, ascetics, who all lived at the time of the destruction of the Second Temple. The Gemara in Bava Batra 60b reads as follows. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Kishacharav habayit bashniya, Rabu Prushim b'Yisrael, Shalol b'achol basar v'shalol l'shtot yayin. When the Second Temple was destroyed, a number of ascetics in Israel decided they didn't want to eat meat and they no longer wanted to drink wine. Nitfalahen Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yehoshua conversed with them. Amr lahen, he said, Bini, Yeshua goes to this group of pious individuals who are steeped in mourning over the temple, refusing to partake of meat and wine. He says to them, why aren't you eating meat? Why aren't you drinking wine? So they say back to Rabbi Yehoshua, we should eat meat when we can no longer bring sacrifices in the temple and eat from that meat. We should drink wine. If we can no longer make wine libations, pour wine on the altar in the temple, before Hashem explained the point of our physical pleasure. Everything we do in life is to serve God. We can no longer serve God appropriately. Why eat meat and drink wine at all? That's the theory of these Prushim, these pious individuals. So Yeshua, and I'll read the rest outside for time's sake. Yeshua's back then, really? Is that your logic? So then, if so, okay, so don't eat bread either. Because we used to bring meal offerings, flour offerings in the temple. So we can no longer do that. So don't eat bread. They say, okay, you know what, you're right. We'll eat fruits. We'll go on a diet. Well, we'll only eat fruits. He says, well, what do you mean? We also bring fruits from the fruits of the land. We bring bikurim. We bring the first fruits of the 7 species of Israel to the Beit HaMikdash. And we can't do that anymore either. So Yeshua says to the Prushim, you have to stop eating fruit. So they say, oh, no, it's okay, because we'll eat fruits that are not part of the 7 species of the land of Israel. We'll eat other fruits. There are fruits that didn't include any offerings to the temple. Ma'im lo nishteshek far baltan nitzuch hamayim, says Yeshua to these people, okay, so we got rid of, you said you're not going to eat meat, no wine, no fruits that you would bring bikurim from. You eat other fruits, but what about water? There's also water libations, nitzuch hamayim. We can't do that anymore either. So then they said, okay, we can't, come on, Yeshua, we can't go without drinking water. They had no answer. So Yeshua says back, listen, and I'll read you his words inside here. Bini, let me come and tell you. We can't, to not mourn at all is impossible, because this has happened. To mourn too much, we also can't do. You can't make a decree on the community unless the community can hold that decree. Yeshua goes to give a number of examples that we should do in order to mourn the Beit HaMikdash. Not eating a full meal, leaving out a course from the meal, not completely decorating and constructing one's house, leaving a corner or a portion of one's house near the door without plaster, putting ashes on a groom's head at a wedding. A number of small mementos to the Beit HaMikdash. What's the point of this argument? I think Rabbi Yehoshua and these Prushim, these pious ascetic individuals, are grappling with the question of how do we move on while also retaining the appropriate amount of appreciation for what we've lost. There's a tendency to be truthful and say we've lost so much, we have to mourn. We have to show our grief. We have to do extreme things to show how much it hurts us. Rabbi Yehoshua says, we also have to move on. We can't get caught up in the grief. You also have to be able to live life normally. We can't go without eating. We can't continue like that. That's not sustainable. Most people can't do that, even if you can. And I think the takeaway for us is this balance. You see on the one hand how much this should affect us, how much loss should affect us. It should affect us in a deep and meaningful way. But at the same time, we balance that with the practicality of needing to move on and to live normal lives and to take the next step. And as we take in these 3 weeks and even the 9 days and approach Tisha B'Av, let us have the wisdom to mourn appropriately while also forging a path for the future.